guys, it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today I am doing my book haul, and honestly I think this might be my largest book haul of the year. I just have quite the stack of things to show off. It's a combination of lots of new releases have been coming out, all my pre-orders have been coming in, and just in general a lack of self-control. A lot of books on my radar right now. So without further ado, maybe grab a drink, maybe grab a snack. Let's jump into this haul. So of course the first 5 titles I'm going to show off are the October selects for Book of the Month, and I am working with them for this video. If you guys are for some reason not aware, Book of the Month is an online bookish subscription service. They essentially curate 5 incredible titles every single month from a variety of authors, voices, and genres in the bookish community. They're always new releases, they're always hardcover, and they're sent directly to your door. If you're not interested in any of the titles for the month, it's very easy to skip, but I promise between the 5 primary titles they select, as well as the add-ons they tend to always have every single month, there's always something to find and love. In fact, the add-ons for the month of October are incredible. There are actually 6 to choose from, 2 of which I have in my hands to quickly show you. First is the Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman, which is the final novel to the Practical Magic series, a series I hope to actually start myself soon, so I'm thrilled to have this in my hands. And then of course we have the incredibly explosive, very popular Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty, and this is of course the same author who wrote Big Little Lies and 8 Perfect Strangers, some of my favorite book to show adaptations. Lots of murder and mystery within this guy. I of course have an offer for you guys. If you use the code Peruse Project, you're able to sign up for your first box for only $9.99. I'll have a link to their site as well as my code down below, but let's dive into the details for the month of October. First book you're able to select from, I have a strong feeling is going to sneak its way on my TBR for this month. It just sounds so adorable and perfect for the fall season, and that is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, which is a pen name for Rachel Hawkins, and this is a rom-com contemporary story full of witches, magic, and hexes. And basically this follows our main character Vivian, and 9 years ago she nursed her broken heart like any normal witch would, with fall-scented candles, bubble baths, and possibly a simple curse against her ex. The curse itself she wasn't too concerned with. She was really anticipating it just giving him a bad hair day or two and he'd be able to brush it off. That is until her ex Race returns to their hometown, and it appears that her little ex-hex might not be as harmless as she once thought, and now her town and her ex are kind of under attack from a variety of magical forces. Again, this just sounds adorable and just perfect for the fall season. I'm hoping for like a Lifetime movie vibes with witches and magic, so I really do feel like I'm gonna read this book this month. I cannot wait. Next up is a story that is full of so many of my favorite tropes and honestly just sounds incredible, and that is The Perishing by Natasha Dion. And basically the tropes that really excite me about this book is that it follows a young woman who is immortal, who wakes up in the past and is basically working throughout this entire story to try to recover her lost memories and also try to understand why she's kind of been present in so many different eras. But this follows our main character Lou, and she wakes up in the 1930s in a back alleyway in Los Angeles with no memory of how she got there or who she actually is. Taken in by a family, she works to dedicate herself to her education and eventually becomes the first female black writer for the Los Angeles Times. But when she stumbles across a man, a firefighter in her community, whom she's never met before but has been drawing his face for years, increasingly certain that she has met this man in another time in her life, Lou has also begun to see flashes of memories from different eras that have begun to haunt her dreams. Lou then falls headfirst in a mystery of trying to unpack and solve her life. I'm personally just so excited for this story. I love paranormal thrillers that mess with time, as well as this being kind of set in a historical setting. Just all of it calls out to me. I can't wait to pick this book up. I feel like it's going to be an absolute page turner. The next book you're able to select from, I'm sure is already on many of your TBRs, and that is Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead, the 2-time Pulitzer winning novelist, and this is his newest release, and honestly, the hype is real. I can't wait to read this one as well. This is said to be a gloriously entertaining novel set in 1960s New York, full of heists, shakedowns, and ripoffs. And in the story, follow our main character Ray, and he is an upstanding salesman of reasonably priced furniture. He really just wants to keep his head down, provide for his family. However, with all of these sofa deals he provides, cash is a bit tight. At the beginning of the story, Ray is pulled into a much larger scheme by his cousin, and that is a heist against one of the most popular and famous famous hotels in Harlem. And of course, the robbery does not go as planned, and Ray's life is quickly turned upside down. This is said to be a family saga masquerading as a crime novel, a hilarious morality play, a social novel about race and power, and ultimately a love letter to Harlem itself. Again, just everything about it calls out to me. Obviously, Colson Whitehead is an author I have been wanting to read for so long, so I'm so thrilled to be able to add this to my collection. I love books set in New York as well, so this is just everything. Alrighty guys, those are all of my personal selects from Book of the Month this month. Be sure to check out their site to see all the other add-ons as well as the 2 other main titles to select for this month, because truly they are all so incredible. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the other books in this video. So the first 4 books I have to show off kind of all go together, and it might not be a surprise when I begin to show them off. But obviously I've been reading a lot of Robin Hobb over the course of the past year and a half or so, and I am currently on the 3rd book to the Fitz and the Fool series, so I went ahead and bought the next full series in line with that, just to make sure I have them on hand. So I have all the books, so if I want a marathon, I can. So the next particular series is actually 4 books, and it brings us back to the land of the live ships traders, which I personally cannot wait to check this one out, just given how much I love the live ship traders series. To quickly run through the Rain Wild Chronicles, the first one is Dragon Keeper. Then I have Dragon Haven. Next is City of Dragons. And lastly, Blood of Dragons. And based off kind of the names of these books, I feel like I have an idea of where they might be starting out, and I'm really excited to be back amongst the Rain Wild traders, the live ship traders, and the dragons. So this is a series I can't wait to pick up. They're also, in general, I would say a lot shorter than some of the previous Robin Hobb books I read, so hopefully that means I can finish this series a bit quicker than some of the previous ones, but we'll see. Next up, I have Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. This, of course, is the author who wrote All the Light We Cannot See, and also was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. All the Light We Cannot See is by far and away one of my favorite books, and I, in general, really enjoy Anthony Doerr's writing. I've also read many of his short stories, so I was really excited about this upcoming release, and I immediately pre-ordered it. I don't know when I'm going to be able to fit it on a TBR, but I feel like I need to get it together and read it soon. I also know, I'm sure a lot of you guys have picked this book up as well. This is Anthony Doerr's new historical release, and again, it is a dual perspective story following 2 disparate lives through various vignettes and moments of their life, and their slow kind of coming together as their worlds collide, which is definitely something that Anthony Doerr likes to do, and I personally love to read. But this is a story set, I want to say, primarily in 15th century Constantinople, and basically follows 2 characters, one inside the wall and one outside. One whose life has been turned upside down once her city is become besieged by an outside army, and the other has been forced into conscription into said army when all he wanted to do was just sell his mule. But also there is a 3rd perspective, which really intrigues me. We follow a character 500 years in the future in Idaho, and somehow I want to say all of these different storylines and perspectives become connected, and I'm just really looking forward to picking this book up. Anthony Doerr's writing is just stunning, and I love his winding tales and stories, and I feel like this is going to be emotional, and I could always use a good cry. Speaking of needing a good cry, I also picked up Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This is another very exciting release by a beloved author. TJ Klune, of course, wrote The House on the Cerulean Sea, and this book just sounds as charming and as emotional, and honestly, again, I hope it makes me cry as well. And first it says, "Welcome to Charon's Crossing. The tea is hot, the scones are fresh, and the dead are just passing through. When the Reaper comes to collect Wallace from his own funeral, he begins to suspect that he might be dead. When Hugo, a peculiar owner of a tea shop, promises to help Wallace cross over, he decides that he is definitely dead. But even in death, Wallace is not ready to give up the life that he feels he's barely lived. He's given 1 week before he has to cross over into the afterlife, so he decides that he is going to live it up for that 1 week, and Hugo promises to help him. This is said to be full of humor, charm, and compassion. I already know I love TJ Klune's writing. It's absolutely beautiful and whimsical and just really full of life and vibrancy. I feel like this is gonna make me cry, but again, I always could use a good tear too. Next purchase shouldn't be too much of a surprise, and that is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. I'm currently reading The Eye of the World right now as we speak, so I wanted to make sure I had book 2 on hand to start before the show releases. Apparently season 1 is just 1 and 2, We'll see. Hopefully there's no spoilers beyond that. But needless to say, I am almost done with The Eye of the World. I'm gonna hold off from sharing my thoughts and feelings because I do have a video coming out about that. But I obviously want to continue on with it, and I'm really much looking forward to the show. The Eye of the World is definitely like a classic medieval quest setup. Our main character Rand and his group of friends who grew up in a very small town on the far reaches of a kingdom, and their lives are turned upside down when creatures from legend attack their town. And now they're forced to flee with a few strangers to basically travel to a faraway city in hopes of finding protection and also tap into a certain magical force. The first one is definitely an adventure, very quest focused and full of a lot of kind of honestly adorable characters. I'm curious to see how book 2 expands the story, as I know it's going to grow and grow, but only one way to find out, and that is to read it. So I grabbed it, it's added to my shelf. I also just love these classic book covers. They're just so cheesy and fun in the best way. The next is a pre-order. I feel like I laugh every time I look at it. I did not realize it was a novella, and I have a really bad habit of ordering books that I think are full length and they come and they're like 50 pages long. But anyway, it is a Spindle Splintered by Alex Harlow, and the book is this long. A hardcover, and it's this long. $20 on this. But this is a story I personally was really looking forward to. I've actually never read anything by Alex Harlow, but I've heard really great things about their writing, and I thought this story would be a great place to start off because it is a dark reimagining of Sleeping Beauty, and in general, I love reimaginings of any type of fairy tale, especially if they become a little more sinister. And in this story, we follow our main character Zinnia, and it is her 21st birthday, and her friend vows to make her 21st birthday the most special one ever because this is Zinnia's last birthday. After an industrial accident left Zinnia with a rare condition, she knows that no one has lived past the age of 21. So our friend has created a special experience for her, the full Sleeping Beauty experience, if you will, including a tower and a spinning wheel. But when she pricks her finger, something unexpected happens and she begins to fall through worlds with another Sleeping Beauty just as desperate to escape her fate. This book still sounds amazing. The story sounds really interesting. I was not expecting it to be only 100 pages long, but hey, it'll probably be perfect for a readathon or something along those lines, so I'm still happy to add it to my shelf, but I do need to get into a better habit of checking page length before I buy things. Next up is another witchy romance novel that is on my TBR for the month, and that is Payback's a Witch. And this is again just another rom-com contemporary witch story full of romance and antics, and I just can't have enough. And in the story, you follow our main character, Emmy Harlow, who is a witch, but not a very powerful one. And this is in part due to the fact that she has not been home to kind of restore her magical well, if you will, in many years. Her exile is in part due to a messy breakup, but also just her desire to forge her own path. But she does return home at the beginning of the story to partake in kind of an important festival for this town. And on her first night back, she runs into Talia, who happens to be the other woman her ex-boyfriend cheated on her with, unbeknownst to Talia herself. And then from there, the two women decide to work together to achieve their mutual revenge against their ex-boyfriend. But as they spend more and more time together, Emmy becomes more and more drawn to Talia herself. Again, I love fun contemporary romances. I especially love one that's a little bit spooky, full of magic, small town drama, and the like. I feel like it'll be the perfect read to break up some of my longer, more murdery focused October TBR picks. Next up is a thriller I am hoping to read in the next couple of months. I've just heard so many fantastic things, and that is The 22 Murders of Madison Way by Max Berry. Max Berry also wrote Lexicon, which I read many years ago but also really loved. That was another kind of supernatural thriller mystery story, which again is a combination I just cannot say no to. Queens, New York, 22-year-old real estate agent Madison May is showing a house. The buyer is nice, friendly, a man she's never met, but he also claims to be her soulmate in a parallel world, and she's in danger and he's come to save her. Later that day, Felicity, a newspaper journalist, is assigned to report on the murder of Madison May. Discontent with her own life, Felicity becomes drawn more and more by this murder, as well as the conspiracy following one powerful group with the ability to slip between lives, kind of shifting from parallel worlds in reality. On the run and turned into an imposter in her own life, Felicity is forced to seek the truth of Madison May, the woman who is murdered over and over again in different ways, no matter where she goes. Again, I love Max Berry. I've heard so many great things about this. I love time and parallel worlds and kind of shifting between lives and there being a central mystery. I just feel like this will be an absolute page turner, and I can't wait to read it. Next book I picked up is Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. And this is the newest novel within Evie Dunmore's suffragist historical romance series, which I just find so delightful and so fun. I'm a historical romance lover. They're generally my go-to when I'm craving something a little fun, a little fluffy, and Evie Dunmore generally does not disappoint. I just think they're so cute. This newest release has many of my favorite tropes, namely a marriage of convenience or like arranged marriage hatred for each other. And this follows our main character Hattie, and she is the heiress to a very wealthy banking family in London, and she's really just looking for three things in life: acclaim as an artist, a noble cause, and a man who puts the gentle in gentleman. However, her family arranges for her to marry a very dark and brooding Scotsman who is also a very ruthless businessman. These two characters find themselves at odds very early on in their marriage, but then an unexpected trip to Scotland adds a little spark to their marriage and romance. Again, I just can't say no. I love historical romance so much. I just think it's so much fun. And with the holidays coming up in winter, I just feel like this was a book I wanted to have on my shelf when I was feeling for something that would just put a smile on my face. I read these books in literally one day. And if you haven't read the other books in this series, I would highly recommend, though I do believe you can kind of read them out of order. So whichever one calls out to you, check them out. Still got more books to show off. I wasn't kidding about that stack. The next book is another book that has made it onto my October TBR, and that is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. And this is a dark academia YA murder mystery story full of occult magic set on a boarding school in the remote United States. I mean, it has it all. This follows our main character Felicity, and she is back at Dalloway, which is a prestigious boarding school set in the Catskill Mountains. This ivy-covered campus was Felicity's home until the tragic passing of her girlfriend. Now a year away, Felicity has finally returned with hopes of just keeping her head down and graduating. But she finds herself assigned to the same room where she previously stayed, said to be haunted by 5 spirits of Dalloway's past, 5 girls, all said to be witches who died mysteriously one after another. Witchcraft itself is kind of woven into the history and the tapestry of the school, though Felicity is trying to ignore being drawn into its dark corners. With the arrival of the new girl Ellis, she finds it more and more difficult to turn away. Ellis herself is a 17-year-old writer who's already amassed a very large following. She's also a method writer with plans to throw herself headfirst into the mystery of Dalloway to inspire her next book. Again, this is full of mystery and murder and witchcraft. I love the dark academia school setting as well. I'm hoping to read this in the next couple of weeks. I've heard fantastic things, so I did grab this for the month of October. The next book I grabbed honestly just made sense, and that is Cersei by Madeline Miller. I read The Song of Achilles earlier this year and loved it, so I wanted to collect her other book that has been released. And also in general, I've just been really in the mood for any type of retelling, ancient, historical, what have you, and Cersei definitely fits the bill, and I already know I love Madeline Miller's writing so much. And in this story, Madeline Miller reimagines the life of Cersei, who is the formidable sorceress from the Odyssey, and basically follows her participation within that classic epic, and I'm sure kind of rewrites her character in a more humanized way. I personally really enjoy Madeline Miller's writing for her inclusion of so many famous scenes from these ancient great works, but just kind of writing them from a different point of view, which just makes the overall story not only more digestible, but just brings it from this sort of tale of the gods and like of lands of the past to feeling so real and rooted within these characters. So I'm excited to read this book following Cersei and follow her life and her decisions and how she decides between choosing the gods or the humans she's come to love. So when I saw this, I knew I had to grab it. Speaking of authors I loved that I wanted to check out their other book, I also have Night Tiger by Yongshi Cho. I read The Ghost Bride again earlier this year and loved it. Another fantastic historical story with a dash of magic. Night Tiger, I would say, is her more famous novel, I'm pretty sure, so I'm just looking forward to picking this one up as well. Of the two novels, I'm pretty sure this one is more famous. This is a story that's also set in Malaysia during the 1930s, and it's said to be full of age-old superstition, modern idealism, sibling rivalry, and forbidden love. I mean, I loved the writing and the romance within The Ghost Bride, so I'm really looking forward to encountering her writing again. It appears within this story we primarily follow two characters that find themselves in an unexpected and also dangerous adventure. First, we have Jilin, who is an apprentice to a dressmaker who moonlights as a dancer at night to help pay off her mother's mahjong debts. But when one of Jilin's dance partners leaves behind a gruesome souvenir, she finds herself thrown into the mirror world, a land full of superstitions and darkness. We also follow follow Ren, who is an 11-year-old Chinese houseboy. He has a secret that he must fulfill to his dead master, and that is to reunite his master's severed finger with his dead body, and he has 49 days to do so, otherwise his master's soul will wander the earth forever. As the days relentlessly tick by, a string of unexplained deaths rock the district that both these characters live in, as well as the story of men turning into tigers. Again, I loved this author's writing, as well as the Malaysian historical setting in the previous book I read of hers, so I'm so looking forward to picking this one up. I've heard only incredible things about it, and I feel like it could possibly be a new fave. Next, we have a story I feel like might be another great pick-me-up to read amongst some dark reads. I've really either been craving like a joyful good time or something so utterly gruesome it makes me want to hide. So like, you know, there's a balance between those two things, and that is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Okai, and this is said to be Good Omens meets The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and it's said to be full of cursed violins, alien courtship over freshly made donuts. And in the story, we follow our main character Shizuka, and she has made a deal with the devil, literally. To escape her soul from being trapped in damnation forever, she promised that she would bring the devil 7 souls of violin prodigies. She's already brought him 6, so she's just on the hunt for 1 more. But when she comes across Katrina, a young transgender runaway, she can almost feel the curse lifting off of her. But in a donut shop in the San Gabriel Valley, she also runs into Lan, retired starship captain and mother of 4, and no matter how many times Shizuka tries to tell herself she doesn't have time for coffee or crushes, Lan's kind eyes trap her in possibly another choice in another life. And it says, maybe something as small as a warm donut is enough to break a curse, and I think all these people begin to travel together, and it just sounds so unbelievably charming. I can't wait. I mean, the synopsis put a smile on my face and also made me really want to eat a donut. And the very last book I'm gonna show off is honestly quite the doozy. I feel like this author, this book is everywhere. I've not read any books by this author, and I feel like it's kind of time to try to see what all the hype is about. And that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I honestly have no idea what this is about. I have not seen the show, I just know Sally Rooney, and I just know normal people. I feel like people cannot stop talking about this, so I feel I had to buy it and kind of see for myself. But it said that this is a coming-of-age love story between 2 characters who kind of fell in love in high school, perhaps drifted apart a bit in college, possibly coming back together later in life. But honestly, I am looking forward to checking out Sally Rooney's writing. I feel like people either love her or hate her. Some say this is an incredibly relatable story, others say it's very overhyped. Only one way to find out where I fall on the spectrum when it comes to this book and this author. So I grabbed it. I was able to get it for a good price. So I thought, you know, what's the harm? Maybe I'll do a Sally Rooney readathon. Who knows? Alrighty guys, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. But those are all the books I picked up over the past month. I wasn't kidding when I said it was a lot. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.